video on my G35 is going to be a bit of a fun one, at least for me. A little bit of a Christmas present is to change out this stereo here. This is the stock stereo, Bose stereo that comes in the G35. And as you can see, it is, well, by today's standard, it's basic. It's even got a tape deck and a CD changer, none of which I use anymore. So basically, all it's good for right now is I've got it hooked up to a Bluetooth connection, and my phone provides all the music. And so what I'm going to do is change it out for this unit, which I got off of Amazon. This is a Pumpkin Android head unit that will provide me with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and Bluetooth connectivity, and applications, apps that I can download off the Play Store, and it will provide me with all the updated functionality that I could ever want. The problem is this stock head unit is obviously built in. It's not a double DIN standard unit that you can just pull out and put in this new one. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to modify this stock stereo location. I have an aftermarket trim piece that you can buy online from a company called Metra, but the one that I got was used from eBay, and it's broken. Part of the trim is broken. This whole section comes out with these vents included, and this piece over here is broken, so I'm probably not going to use that. What I did buy it for is the heater controls. So these heater controls are integrated in one circuit board that goes all the way down and connects. This is like a circuit board behind here to give you all of the display and the buttons capability of the radio, and then that circuit board is connected into the heater control circuit board, which is right behind here. There are two separate connections, electrical connectors in the back, buried under here for both the radio and the heater controls, but that circuit board really causes a problem because there's no way to separate the two, take out the radio functionality, but leave the heater controls. So the new Metra units that you can buy online have aftermarket heater controls with a single circuit board that's just located up here, so you can use the double DIN space for a new radio. So I'm going to try to make this work. It's going to involve probably cutting a double DIN size hole into this stock one, which I would have ended up throwing away anyway. And we're going to see how I can make it work. Like I said, the only thing I really need to keep off of that old, or that Metra unit that I bought that's cracked, and I'm hoping that the heater controls work on it, but the only thing I'm going to keep is those heater controls. So let's get to it. First thing is obviously to just take the whole thing apart. So you have to unscrew the shift knob. You pop up this trim panel just by pulling up on it here, and then there's some screws located under there, and we'll start digging into it. Okay, like I said, you unscrew the shift knob first, so set that aside, and then under here you just grab on to the trim piece right here and here, and you pull straight up, and this piece will pop up. And then there's electrical connections in the back for obviously the hazard lights and the light that goes to the cubby here for smokers. And then so you just disconnect those electrical connectors at the back. Next is two screws, one here and one here. So just take those off. Pop this panel down underneath the driver's side footwell, and then you pop this panel out. There's a couple clips here on the side, and you pop that panel out after you get this one down. What I did here is there's two clips right here, so that pulls this way. This piece down underneath the footwell pulls down, it just kind of hangs there, and you can just leave that hanging there just to get it away from the speaker or the stereo unit, so you can pull that out eventually. Up at the top, you got to remove this trim piece here to get to a screw that's located underneath the clock. So to remove this, you can kind of fit your fingertips just behind here and pull straight out towards you. Don't pull up towards the glass. Pull it straight out toward you. And there's a couple of clips up here at the top that will need to come out. And I think there's some clips at the bottom, but they pull out straight towards you. If you pull it up, you're gonna crack them. Okay, under here there's a clip for electrical connection that you need to undo to this security light here. Once you remove that, you got to remove the clock, so there's a screw here, and then you can remove the electrical connection to the clock behind it if you want to just completely remove it. Otherwise, you just need to get to this screw that's underneath and behind here. Now that I removed the clock out of the way, you can leave it connected, just move it out of the way. You can see that Phillips head that you need to get access to right here to completely remove the radio. Okay, over on in the passenger footwell, you can take this piece and pop it out. There's some clips here, and it just pops into the footwell that way. There's 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, that are just underneath the door here, and so you remove those, and then this panel will kind of pop down, and then you can remove this trim piece on the side here. And it seems to be caught up on something. Oh, this wiring harness is caught up right here, so just push that up and through the hole. There we go. And now the whole thing will come out. Watch you don't scrape the front on the gear shift here. And then I'll just kind of lean it here while I'll get something soft to put on that shift knob. And then on the back, you just have to start taking out all these electrical connections, and I'll do that right now. Okay, once you have the unit out, there's several screws to take out to pick up the actual stereo system. Okay, once you remove those 6 screws, you can see what I'm talking about here. This unit is just the head unit, but the actual electronics that show up on the display are here on this circuit board. And so right here there's an electrical connection that you have to take off from the unit, so watch that. And that's just a ribbon cable down here that you disconnect, and then that pops off. In order to not have to spend $175, I think they are, dollars on the Metric kit, which is a JDM kit that has the doubled-in hole in it, I'm going to modify my stock one. I don't plan on selling this. You can get 50 bucks, 60 bucks on eBay for it, but whatever. So I basically take the trim ring that comes with the new head unit, and I've traced out a hole exactly the size of, or I've taped off a hole that's exactly the size of the head unit. And so I'm going to cut this out and see how it fits, and then hopefully the trim ring will cover up any imperfections on the edge, and then it'll all fit. Okay, I found that these 2 screw holes line up well and also have a good depth here up on the top. This depth is good for the front faceplate that will go on. So again, 2 on this side as well. You can see here, after I cut out the around the edges here, this is what's left over, because this double din doesn't exactly fit, or all these holes that used to be in the head unit here cause it to not quite be as clean as I'd like it to, but obviously that's where this trim piece comes in. So you fit the trim piece around, and once I press it into place, you'll see that it covers the holes, all the extra holes, quite nicely actually. Let me go ahead and do that. Alright, you can see with that trim piece in there, it does hide all the little imperfections, so that's good. The only thing is down the bottom there's a tiny little crack, but if you're looking at it from above, which you will be when you're viewing it in the car, you can't see it, so that's not a huge deal. But other than that, it fits pretty good. The biggest problem with trying to connect an aftermarket radio in the Infiniti G35 is the heater controls, which are right up here. And so what you need to do is, I actually tried to, there's a circuit board that fits behind here that has the heater controls on it, and it has all the buttons for the Bose head unit. You can't, there's no way to get that circuit board to fit in there with the stereo, because this stereo goes down, an aftermarket stereo won't allow that circuit board to go through. I tried actually cutting the circuit board in half to see if the functionality of these top controls, the heater controls, would still work with that circuit board cut in half, and they don't. So you have to get an aftermarket JDM type heater control unit, which comes on these aftermarket double din kits. This is a Metra kit that I purchased. Actually, it's damaged. See, it's cracked over here on the side, and I did that. The only reason I purchased that is to get this aftermarket heater control unit, which will fit right behind there in the location that's supposed to go, and has the proper connection here to make all your heater buttons work. So I ended up buying a broken Metra unit just to get these, and the broken Metra unit was a lot cheaper than a new one. They're like 170 bucks, which is kind of outrageous. But I wish they just sold these, and then I could have just bought this heater control unit. You probably can get it if you order from Japan or something, but these don't look as good as stock ones. The stock controls look a lot better. These ones are a little cheaper looking, but I think once it's all installed, it'll blend in just fine. Alright, I'm going to try to discuss this wiring as best I can. Here's the unit, or the plug that goes in the back of the stereo I bought. This one also goes into the back of the stereo I bought. So those two have tons of wires. This is basically the power wire, and this is for video and audio right here. So power one, we'll talk about that one first. So I got these two connections right here that are factory, that come from a kit that I bought online that allows you to splice in aftermarket radios with the Infiniti. So that helps a lot, although there's a lot of wires that aren't necessarily needed. So let's discuss the ones that we did keep. So we got the outputs for the main power, yellow, right here, goes to the yellow on the Infiniti adapter. Also the red from the main power connector here goes out to red on the Infiniti adapter, and then the black right here goes to ground. And I've made just a separate ground so I can go to a nice chassis ground, and I'll show you where I tap that in. So I didn't splice that into the Infiniti adapter, because actually I found that this black, which I would assume was ground on the Infiniti adapter, doesn't actually go to ground. So that's basically a wire I won't be using. Also, this blue one I won't be using. I don't need that one either. The blue one that comes out of the back of the head unit that goes to the amp power goes to the other Infiniti adapter, the blue-white wire. So basically blue-white goes to blue-white. So that's easy. So cover that again. We got ground going to chassis ground. The yellow and yellow go together from the Infiniti adapter to the head unit adapter. Red goes to red, blue-white goes to blue-white, and that's all I need from those. This black with white on this second Infiniti adapter, I won't need that. So you can take these pins out. I'm just going to remove the ones I don't need, because those are, so this top one on the left, actually, push it through there. There we go. So I'll just take that black and white one out and set it aside. I don't need that. Alright, and on the main Infiniti adapter, the power adapter I'm calling it, because it has all the power wires going. There's several that I'm not going to use. This blue one, like I said, the ground, or the black one, which I thought was a ground, I'm not going to use. And this orange one, which I thought was to, would have connected into the orange, where is it? The orange here from the head unit, that's the dimmer, the illumination dimmer. That one is not actually the illumination dimmer, that's just a constant 12. So I'm not going to need that one either, and I'll just remove that. So I'll remove the orange, the blue, and the black from the power adapter for that goes to the Infiniti harness. Also, the power here has a bunch of audio wires also on in that one. So the purple, gray, white, and green with stripes as well. They go to this ISO connector, which you will not use. These are all the amplified signals out for audio, but the Infiniti, my Bose Infiniti system has a amp already in the car, so I will be using the preamp outs, and those will go to the preamp connectors that come with these Infiniti adapters. So here the gray and the white go to front right and front left. The green goes to rear left, and the purple goes to this rear right. And those are all tied into this harness here, which also has video output. You can output video to the headrests if you have headrest monitors in the back, and also to a dedicated subwoofer preamp, which we will not use on the Infiniti. The other wires I got over here there's a reverse wire to tie in a reverse camera. There's a brake wire, which I don't think I'll be using. I think that might be for something to tie in with the parking brake, to let it know that you're stopped, and therefore it'll allow you to do certain functions on the it'll be like a nanny and won't let you do navigation or mess with the screen, but I'm just going to leave that off. And then these key ones, key 1, key 2, and ground to the keys. These key ones are all to make the steering wheel controls work. So I've made up my own adapter here, and I'll show you what wires those plug into on the vehicle. So basically, key 1 and key 2, I've made up this adapter here. You can use any type of cables or solder it together with the wires in the car. And then the ground, I just made its own separate connector here. I would have tied these all together, but I didn't have a three-way connector, so this one's just separately. And the reverse one I'll end up doing later when I get the reverse camera, but for now I'll just leave that one off. And that's it. So those are all the wires you need to connect, and I'll show you how to connect them in the vehicle. Alright, so you remember those key wires that go to the controls on the steering wheel? Well, here's how you connect those. The ground, you hook up to this yellow wire here. First of all, you find this 4-pin connector right here. Originally it had 4 pins going to it. I cut off the wires that I needed to use, and so it's the only one in this bundle that has 4 wires going to it. So you find that one, and that's your steering wheel control wires. So you take this yellow one in that bundle, and that is your ground. So that's one. And then key 1 and key 2. Key 1 I have connected to, let's see, I find the ones I go to over here. And so key 1 goes to the red. You see the red wire right here, and this green wire right here goes to key 2, and then this other white with green stripe wire you don't need, so just set that aside. Other than that, the only other thing left to wire as far as the head unit is concerned is the dimmer. Remember, I couldn't find the right dimmer, so on this bundle right here that goes to the heater controls, there's a red with yellow stripe wire right here. It's the third one over. If that'll focus. It's the third one over here, red with yellow stripe on the top of this connector that goes to the heater controls. And that one I tapped into, I soldered in a wire, and that I will connect to my dimmer, the dimmer wire, the orange wire of the head unit. And that's it. Other than that, it's just cable management. I'm trying to find a place to fit all these things. Back behind here, as far as the ground wire I told you about, there's a metal brace here that braces this and goes to the chassis. So right here you can ground things to this wire. There's a screw that goes in just like this one over here, and you can ground to this metal bracing here, and that seems to work out pretty well for me. Okay, next thing to do is connect all the wires. The mentor kit that has all the Infiniti plugs on it also comes with a adapter for the radio, so you can hook up the antenna. So that's good. Just make sure you connect all the wires. Get your GPS and your Wi-Fi. The GPS receiver I just ran and put right there, and I ran the wire along the down through the cracks here, the crevice, and all the way down. It comes with an external speaker, which I mounted up here, and then ran the wires behind the this pillar. And then the Wi-Fi antenna I put inside here. There's a cavity inside here, and I just kind of left it in there to see how how that works. If it doesn't get good reception there, then I can always just move it. I haven't glued it in or anything crazy like that. And that's it. I'll test it out now before I button this back up. Alright, the install is complete, and I got everything put back together. So, went fairly smoothly. Hopefully some of my notes help out if you're trying to do this yourself. Trying to wire it probably is the hardest thing. Getting the correct wires to know which ones in the Infiniti go to the ones on the head unit. So hopefully that helps some people out, and that's it. I'll see you in the next video.